A product gets made in one country for $10. Then China makes something very similar for $6, sometimes even less.
And that is when people start asking the real question.
How is that even possible?
Because when prices get that low, companies do not just lose business, they start getting nervous. They start wondering what they are really competing with. And that is the mystery of the China price.
Most people think the answer is simple: cheap labor.
And yes, that used to be a big part of the story. But today, that answer is too small. It explains some of it, not most of it.
Because cheap labor alone does not explain speed.
It does not explain reliability. And it definitely does not explain why entire industries start feeling pressure when China enters the market.
So clearly, something bigger is going on.
The real story is not just about one factory making things cheaply.
It is about a factory sitting inside a much larger system.
A system where suppliers are close, workers are ready, infrastructure is built, and products can move fast.
That is where the real advantage comes from.
Think about what it takes to make just one product.
You need parts. You need packaging.
You need workers.
You need trucks, roads, warehouses, ports, and shipping.
And every extra step costs money.
Every delay costs money too. Now imagine most of those things are already close together. The supplier is nearby. The packaging company is nearby. The port is nearby. The roads are already there.
The workers already know the job. Suddenly, everything moves faster.
And when things move faster, costs start coming down.
That is the part people often miss.
The China price is not just about paying less for labor. It is about removing friction from the whole process.
Less delay, less waste, less cost at every step. That is why what looks like one cheap product is actually something much bigger.
It is the result of a whole manufacturing ecosystem working together.
And when that ecosystem is efficient, the final price can look almost unreal.
Then there is speed, and in manufacturing, speed matters a lot.
Because speed is not just convenience. Speed saves money.
If parts arrive faster, production keeps moving. If suppliers are close, companies spend less time waiting. And less waiting means less waste.
That is why China's strength is not just that it can make things cheaply.
It can make them quickly, smoothly, and at massive scale. And that is a very different kind of power.
It is also why other countries struggle to copy it.
You can build a factory. That part is possible.
But building the whole environment around that factory is much harder.
That takes networks, coordination, infrastructure, skills, and time.
A lot of time. So when a company thinks it is competing with one Chinese manufacturer,
it may be looking at the problem too narrowly.
Because it is not just competing with one company, it is competing with an entire system. And that is the real mystery of the China price. On the surface, it looks like a cheap product.
But underneath, it is the output of one of the most powerful manufacturing ecosystems in the world.
That is why the price looks small, but the force behind it is anything but.